For anybody that's not aware, I'll just throw it up on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. The quote from Rappaport, sources, the 49ers have received inquiries from several teams looking into a potential trade for former number 3 pick Trey Lance. The conversations have been the result of San Francisco fielding the calls, not making the calls. Yeah, right. With teams aware that Brock Purdy.
If you were wondering where this report came from.
like, let's just get into that for a minute. Right?
Yeah.
That is
great.
Such spin. Every team that's ever been trying to trade a player ever has said, oh, we're not making the calls.
Yeah.
We're just fielding the calls.
Yeah. It's not that we want to trade him. It's just that he's so in demand. And we have this conundrum because we love him so much, but everyone else wants him. Like, that's the situation that's going on right now.
Right. Like, what are we doing here? Give me a break with that part of it. I don't buy that. I've never bought that. And people that are just like, I don't know if they're trying to make themselves feel better about this. And they're like, oh, well, they're not making calls. There's nothing to this. Like, you got your head in the sand.
Also, I think it's hilarious how certain journalists and certain teams think most football fans are really stupid. And I think the reason that people watch us is they understand that we are like on the pursuit of the truth. And not that many people in the media really are anymore, especially NFL media. And it's a collaborative effort with us and the viewers of this show. And it's like a noble pursuit because they just lie to you. And they're like, you'll buy season tickets, right? It's like, I guess.
Right. And then, as if that wasn't enough, we got another tweet from Rappaport. I'll throw that up on the screen too. While no trade is imminent, the 49ers would almost certainly want to make sure Brock Purdy's rehab continues to go as smoothly as it's been going. The interest from other teams in Lance has been there.
Right. And that's the whole point. What they're trying to do is, hey, teams want Trey Lance. And if you want Trey Lance, you need to call right now because he's only going to be available for the next 10 minutes. And you're going to get him for 2 low payments. It's like that kind of sales tactic. It's so transparent. But I get it. Like, if you don't trade him by the draft, there's no trade market anymore. Teams are going to draft quarterbacks. So see what you can get in the next week. And if someone blows you away, and you can get Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, then by all means. But I just don't see it happening.
You don't see a trade happening?
I don't think they can trade him for a 3rd or 4th round pick and say, we'll see what happens with Brock Purdy. In the meantime, Sam Darnold's our starting quarterback. We didn't get that much. Fans would riot, metaphorically speaking, and it could really, really, really blow up in their faces. I don't think they're that arrogant. I do think they're an extremely arrogant organization. I don't think they're that arrogant. That's a whole different level of arrogance.
Oh, I think they are.
Wow.
Just look at the pieces, like the evidence here, right? So first, they immediately rush out and sign Sam Darnold, like almost as fast as you could reach an agreement with. On the first day of legal tampering, they agree with Sam Darnold. That's number one, right?
True.
And they talk him up constantly. He's got as good a skill set as is out there, Kyle Shanahan said. Piece of evidence number 2, they don't shut down Trey Lance trade talk at the owners' meetings. In fact, they leave the door wide open. They basically announce to the world that the for sale sign is up with Trey Lance because they'll trade anybody, right? They'll trade John Lynch for a trade offer, which, by the way, I believe that Kyle Shanahan would trade John Lynch.
Don't you forget it, John.
Number 3, they're sniffing around quarterbacks in this draft like they don't have any on the roster. Matt Barrows had a whole article in The Athletic. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the kid out of Purdue. What's the other guy's name? Hooker? I don't even know. Hainer, whatever.
Whoever.
They're sniffing around quarterbacks like they don't already have 3 on the roster. And then we get this report from Rappaport that, they're listening to talk. They're not making the talk. I mean, what else are we supposed to think when we look at this whole puzzle?
I think they're trying to prepare 49ers fans for this because I think they understand Niner fans are emotionally invested in Trey Lance. Team traded up, told him, wait, he's going to be great. So Niner fans are like, okay, we trust you. We're invested. And now you're just going to get rid of him before even really giving him a chance. And I think the Niners understand it's going to be a very unpopular move. And they're trying to be like, hey, you like Trey Lance? What about Sam Darnold? Well, Sam Darnold's great. He was the 3rd pick in the draft. Okay. No one likes Sam Darnold. Okay. What if we draft a guy? We could get Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Everyone likes Dorian Thompson. It's like, but everyone wants to see what you got in Trey Lance. And you can't just pull the old bait and switch on your fans. They're not that stupid. Stop treating them like they're idiots.
Tyler, thank you very much for the super chat. This is the biggest lie I have seen in a minute. I assume he's talking to the 49ers, not making the calls on. First of all, if you pick up the phone, you're kind of making the call because you're willing to discuss it, right? What if they pick up the phone and the team says, oh, we'll give you a third for Trey Lance? What if John Lynch says, no, but we'll take a second? Like, okay, you didn't make the call, but you threw the offer out there. So, like, it doesn't matter who makes the call. You answer the phone, you're in discussions. You're having trade talks.
But what is the nature of the discussion? Does the team call up and say, hey, what's the price on Lance? The Niners say a second and a fourth, and they hang up. Or is it a team calls up and says, hey, we'll give you a third for Lance, and the Niners hang up? Or is there a discussion? I'd love to know.
Yeah, I would love to know too.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like, hey, maybe the call is simply, would you be open to trading Trey in June if Brock, because that's the other thing. We don't know that Brock can throw. He can't throw right now, and they won't know his status until June.
Can I say something else? A lot of people assume that, Brock had this surgery and now the Niners know what happened and when he's coming back. They didn't get the results of that surgery. Now, Brock could have signed a release to give them his HIPAA records, but that would be an extremely naive thing to just hand over to your employer. I think most likely the Niners are guessing like us. And the only people that really know what happened on that day, March 10th, the surgery day, is Brock, his surgeon, his agent, his parents, his family, and people he actually trusts. That's what I'm thinking.
So to be clear, though, you're not reporting this. You're saying this is just
just general knowledge of life and the league. Like, he didn't have to give him the results. He could have signed over his HIPAA results, but that would have been extremely naive, and it seems like he has some smart people in his corner. So, Brock, I'm hoping you didn't do that. And assuming you didn't, the Niners are guessing. And that's another reason they probably shouldn't trade Trey Lance, because they don't really know what happened to Brock Purdy that day.
For Life Niner says if they trade Trey, the 49ers will regret it. Kent Catchum says Grant is my first look on YouTube every morning. Why isn't it gold standard? What's up with that? No, just kidding.
Yeah, look at both. You can look at two things.
There you go. Vincent says fans are not as invested in Trey Lance as you think, Grant. That'd be
Speak for yourself, Vincent. Speak for yourself.
But I want to go back to what you just said, because I do think that there is. The 49ers are not Brock Purdy's friend. The 49ers, and I don't mean this to be critical of them, the 49ers represent the best interests of the 49ers, and Brock has to represent the best interests of Brock. And if there is a conflict there, the team is always going to do what's right for the team. So Brock has to do what's right for him. So that's why, and I kind of banged on Yahoo a little bit for this. That quote that came out where he might have said he might not play this year was very, very ambiguous. But I think Brock has to consider that. Brock has to look at this like, I can't worry about the team. I got to do what's best for me, because I may only get one other shot, and I got to protect my career.
Can I read you an email I got yesterday from a person who used to coach in the NFL? Can I put it that way? A person who used to coach in the NFL. This is what he wrote to me. He said, "Bravo for Brock Purdy. After seeing for decades all of the abuses of players and their health by ownership and coaches of NFL teams and the quote-unquote shoot 'em up and get 'em back on the field philosophy, I am glad and proud for Brock Purdy to lay down the law regarding his potential comeback from his elbow surgery. Only Brock, his physician, Brock's family, his agent, and others to whom Brock wishes to confide really know the extent of the surgery as well as the anticipated recovery time. Everybody is different, so it's not like there is a timetable for return like the 5 p.m. Amtrak coming down the rails every day. I sincerely doubt if Brock were naive enough to sign a HIPAA release form to give Niners access to his personal records and for info about the surgery, so the Niners are just playing the guessing game. He only has one right arm, and if it goes haywire, he's toast. But the Niners can go to the well and sign guys off the street, draft, and even trade for other arms. Purdy is a depreciable asset, nothing more, nothing less."
That's how teams look at players, because it's true. Like, I don't mean that to bang on the 49ers. They can't always draft somebody. They're sniffing around quarterbacks. They may draft.
They're talking about Sam Darnold right now. He's the greatest.
So yeah, like that has to, if you're Brock, that has to enter into your thinking. And again, I was not willing to say based on that Yahoo thing that he might miss the season. That quote was way too ambiguous. I actually reached out to the author of that article and tried to ask and say, like, what was going on here? Can you give me more context? And I've never heard back.
Nothing.
So I was very frustrated about that.
That is frustrating.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
If the 49ers do trade Trey Lance, and they haven't yet, but if they do, it's Kyle Shanahan making the Patrick Mahomes mistake all over again, right? It's not investigating what could be a franchise quarterback because you think that what you have coming down the pike is good enough. In 2017, it was, we're not going to look at Mahomes because we're going to sign Kirk Cousins, and that's good enough. Now it could be, we're not going to look at Trey because we have Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold, and we think that is good enough. So it could be the same mistake all over again.
Yeah, and it's like, really the first mistake should have cost him his job because every other coach who passed on Trey Lance is gone. So Kyle Shanahan, and he's done things to, excuse me. Yeah. Everyone that has passed on Mahomes is gone. So Kyle is in a unique territory. And if he does it again, to your point, like that's it. You got the second chance that no one else got because, you know, you're good, but also who you are. You got the second chance and you did it again. You learned nothing. Yeah, I would have to say like that would be a fireable offense. It might take a few years to realize, you know, Lance would have to become good and Brock would have to flame out, but that could absolutely happen. And I think they have to know that. And why would you even put yourself on the line like that? I think they have to understand they're losing support with their own fan base over this quarterback issue. They are.
You know, the 49ers are scheduled to have their pre-draft press conference on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Can I give you a bunch of things that I want you to ask Kyle Shanahan?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm going to tweet it out anyway because I always do.
Yeah.
And by the way, by the way, not to criticize you, but I'm going to criticize the entire 49ers beat. Why is this rumor coming from me and Rappaport? You think somebody on the 49ers beat would have known that they're fielding calls on Trey Lance? Where are you guys? Where are you, Grant? Where's the report? Where's Mayoko? Where's Barrows? Right? Where's Jennifer? Where is everybody?
Good call. My interpretation here is that this is a report the Niners wanted out there, and when they want a report to, when they want to report something, they go through the NFL Network every single time. That's what they do. Mm-hmm. They don't want to make anyone locally, powerful and famous and give them a scoop. They go through Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero every single time, and I'm sure there's some kickbacks. If I work through the league is good to us in some way. It's a quid pro quo every time. So I don't know what they get out of it, but that is their go-to source for all breaking news, the NFL Network. It's been that way since Jed's gotten there.
Yes, it has. He's always gone to national guys. Joshua Wyatt says the problem with TLV, I don't know what TLV is.
Trey Lance,
I guess, is he needs 30 starts. If you do that, by the time he's good, he will be expensive. The 49ers already blew his rookie deal window. There is no value left, and the league knows it.
There's something to that. They messed him up. They messed up his timeline. He needed playing time. He didn't get it in the first 2 years. That being said, he's not even 23 years old yet. So I think a smart team can look at this and be like, you know what? Niners fumbled this. He's still young. We could buy low. Like this is how Bill Walsh got Steve Young in the first place.
The weird thing is, I've heard a lot of that same rhetoric when it comes to Sam Darnold, and it's like all of the stuff that you're using to justify Sam Darnold also applies to Trey Lance. And by the way, Trey doesn't have 56 games of crap to overcome. So that whole thing is very, very weird. There was another super chat.
Right. Sam Darnold's getting the like Alex Smith 2.0 label, right? No, that's Trey Lance. That is Trey Lance. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Christopher says there's video of the interview of Brock showing where Brock Purdy's quote is misquoted. If there is, I haven't seen it, and I'm not denying that there is. I would love to see it because I want more information.
If he was misquoted, then Jory Epstein needs to retract the article, apologize. Honestly, like you could get suspended and fired for misquoting people. You misquote someone or invent a quote, you get fired. And if you want another job, you have to go when you're applying and say, hey, I just need to know that I essentially plagiarized once. So very serious. I mean, I'm not going to say she did that until there's proof.
But you can't have it be ambiguous in there. If you don't have him specifically saying, I don't know if I'm going to play in 2023, you can't split up a quote to imply otherwise.
Can't do that. And that's why, again, I assume that she works for Yahoo. I assume she is a credible journalist who knows what she's doing until proven otherwise. I'm not going to.
100%.
I'm not. Yeah. Yep.
That's why I reached out and wanted more because there could be contact.
That's disappointing. That's disappointing.
You know, so I don't know. And maybe
did no one record the freaking interview? No one recorded the interview. Right. What?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Whole thing is very
in 2023. Yeah. Everyone was just writing it down on little pieces of paper.
Well, like what are we doing here?